Greetings from Titania's realm at Sacred Space. It's Friday, the 10th of October, 2025. Not sure what the time is. Let me try and sneak a look. 12:20 p.m, so just after lunch. I've just finished renovating this very old vintage case that I bought about 10 years ago. I can't even remember where I bought it, probably in a second-hand shop. And it was missing its handle. And I've had it under the bed, storing these remnants of my beautiful Indian silk sari that used to hang across my four-poster bed as a canopy. And I've been storing them, keeping bits and pieces, as you can see, because I can glue them on cards and still kind of get wrest a bit more life out of that beautiful sari, which back in the day cost me a fair bit of money, and was a beautiful Indian woman that owned the shop, and she let me pay it off very slowly. When I bought that sari was about, oh my gosh, I was still living at Mount Gravatt East, so it was before I came here. I've been here 22 years, so 24 years ago. Anyway, the lady, I can't remember her name now or the name of the shop. It's long gone too. But she let me pay it off very, very slowly. And at one point I ran out of money, as I often do, because in those days I had even less money to live on, because I was living on New Start, which is the equivalent of the unemployment benefit, and less money than the disability pension. And I was, I had two daughters still in school, and I was struggling. Anyway, I went to her and I was honest, and I said, I've bought this beautiful sari from you and I just can't wait to have it. I want it to hang over my bed and I can't wait to have it. But I said to her, I can't financially afford to pay it off. She said, but you've paid off half of it. And I said, I know, but, I'll just have to, let it go and lose that money. And I said, thank you for, trusting in me and letting me pay it off so slowly. This was about, I think I'd have been paying it off for about 6 months. Anyway, she was a devout Muslim woman, and she just looked at me and she said, no, I'm determined that you have that sari. She said, you love it and you'll cherish it, which I did indeed do, but alas, sun coming in through my bedroom window rotted the silk. It was pure silk. So it lasted about 5 years and then it rotted out. But I tell you what, it brought so much joy, that sari, that I'm still holding on to remnants of it. Oh, dear goddess. Because it sparked joy, and it was a happy memory of a really kind deed from that lovely lady. And she said to me, no, I'm determined. You've half paid it off. I think I'd more than half paid her off. She said, we all run into hard times. And she said, and you told me from the beginning that it would take you a while to pay it off. And she said, and I haven't minded at all, because it is such a beautiful sari that I've had it on display here. So we've both benefited from it. It's been on display and I've held on to it a bit too. And she says, I want you to have it. So she said, you just come in. If you only make a payment, once a month or so, I think it took me 6 months to pay it off. Yeah, something like that. I think I used to pay off $20 a fortnight, or just some piddling little amount. And she said, you just come in once a month. And she said, and if you miss a payment, I don't mind. She said, I think you're a lovely woman and I want you to have that sari. She said, if it kills both of us, you're going to have it. She said, but don't tell my husband. So it was a kind of little business arrangement between her and I. And when I finally paid it off, she wrapped it up so beautifully and she said, I'm so happy for you to have this sari. And I said, I'm so happy too. And if I had more money, I would come and buy more of your beautiful things. But alas, I don't. But I said, I will not forget your kindness to me, which I never have. And anyway, I had the sari stored in this vintage suitcase, which I can't remember how I acquired that. Probably bought it. I would have bought it. I would have bought it in a second hand or in, antique shop somewhere. And I've oiled it up. It's leather, but it was looking all dry and blah. Just got oil on my thigh. Let me just wipe that off. And it's not quite soaking in, so I might have to rub the excess off. But anyway, I'm leaving it for now. And so, because I renovated 2 old wooden drawers that I spoke about yesterday. I didn't show you the drawers while I'm in the mood. I'm very tired, people. I had a very bad night last night. I stopped breathing 11 times an hour, and I slept for 7 hours, so that's 77 times in my sleep that I stopped breathing, which I'm fairly certain is a direct consequence because I really worked so hard yesterday that I could barely walk. I was stumbling around the garden doing my classics, I call it my sailor's gait. But this is the drawer I renovated yesterday, an old drawer I had under the house. And I thought I'm going to bring that up because the motivation was I buy these crates from IKEA that are also quite lovely and don't cost a lot. And then I put wheels on them. I screw the wheels on professionally because I used to hot glue it and they just, they fall off. So these are all, I spent the whole day screwing. I mean, you kind of have to laugh. Screwing wheels on this drawer, and it's come up. I oiled it too. It's come up a beauty. Actually, the drawer looks almost brand new, and that's the little handle that was still kicking about, still from I inherited from my mother, all her bits and pieces and hardware and crap. And this is another old drawer that is not so cute, but I'm going to put a handle on that too, I think. Holds my, I even made a little label for it, it was on the other box. Shop displays. I made this ages ago when I first started my Titania's Realm idea. Was going to be a little business. I wanted to rent a shop and, sell, my upcycled vintage sterling silver spoons and forks and jewellery, but I went to the markets a few times and failed miserably. I'm cursed to always struggle financially, and I don't know why that is, because I was very blessed when I was a young woman. My father-in-law insisted on paying off our house, my husband's house. He wanted me to have financial stability. And I'd only known my father-in-law for about a year before he died. I only actually got to be in close, relationship with him for the last 6 months of his life. But he was a beautiful soul, and he recognised a very wild and free and difficult spirit when he saw one. And, I think I was the only person in his entire family that had ever stood up to him when I was 18. I stood up to him. I fought for the right to marry his son. If I'd known his son was going to be so awful to me, I would not have bothered. Maybe deep down the old man knew and he felt guilty, and that's why he wanted to make sure I had financial stability. But anyway, that got torn away from me, not just by my marriage breakdown, but my own mother destroyed me that way, and viciousness. The viciousness goes on, and I try not to think about it because it does me no good. It just keeps me lost in a hellscape of bitterness and unhappiness. But anyway, I shortened these bolts, these little brass bolts. So I had to cut them off with I tell you what, my father-in-law, if he was around or still alive, which isn't possible because he was an elderly man when I got married, he'd be so proud of me at being a little handy woman and fixing things up and shortening bolts with my metal saw and making things work. He'd be so bloody proud of me. I know that for a fact. Sometimes I wonder, Jared sort of mentioned it, and it's made me pause for thought. If he's become my guardian angel because he wants to make sure that I do well and kind of prosper a bit more in my older age, because my house shot to pieces and I'm older now and I'm alone, and it's a bit of a bleak outcome for me. I just feel like there's this muse at me every day getting me to make something or fix something or upcycle something. Jared thinks it's my father-in-law of blessed memory, which, is possible because he wanted me to prosper, as I said, when I was only 19 years old. So he was a very good man to me. I hammered in these little rivets because what happened, I followed the pattern and drilled put the initial bolts through that hole, and then the handle ended up being all squished and tiny like that. I thought, I don't like that. I need to be able to get my hands and things and give them a good shake about and be able to swing it. So, it's got to be right, otherwise it grinds my gears. I thought, I'm putting all this work in, it's got to be right. So I took the bolt out of there and I drilled another hole there. So 2 bolts either side. And I hammered a crystal rivet that I had bought when I was doing silver-plated flatware. I bought these rivets for that purpose, but I've moved on from that. I don't like working with silver plate, so I buy, when I can afford it, sterling silver antique spoons or cutlery, and I'm at the stage now where I try to set real stones in them. But the rivets are pretty for things like this, making things like this happen. And the birdies are very quiet today. I think they're freaking out because their mad human mother is making lots of noises in their room and listening to podcasts. I've been, listening to Polarity Josh and someone else I listened to. And so it's a lot of noise. I haven't put them out in the garden yet because it was windy this morning, then it came over all overcast. So I got little boys sleeping, sort of. And it was a bit of a murky day, but I might put them out now because they need to go out, be out in the fresh air, get some quiet time from the mama tea, who's, as I said, made lots of noises. I'll just show you. I kind of need to polish these up, like grind them back. I'm sure they're brass. I just gave them a bit of an oil. But look, the inside, I think that's why I bought it. The inside was still, hang on a sec, it's still fairly pristine. Look at that. And this would be from like, I don't know, the 50s or 60s. So I glued that panel down a bit. And, well, we're ready to go. I'll put the little bits of soot back in there because why have they all fallen out of their little... No, I have to sort that. I'll do that after I finish videoing because I had them, all the little pieces in those big envelopes. Anyway, the mama tea is busy. I'm so bloody happy that I worked on those drawers, even though I was literally ill last night to the point where I stopped breathing. Not good. Driven like a wildebeest by some magical muse, as I said, who's determined for me to make the best of things. I don't know if I've ever shown, I probably have shown you, but this was another piece that I actually bought on Facebook Marketplace. And it was a cutlery canteen, and I bought it from an Irish woman. I don't remember her name either, but she was of Irish descent, and she said to me, promise me one thing. I said, I want to buy it. I'm renovating old canteens for my jewellery. And she said to me, and it was a really ugly, like old varnish, and it was stained an ugly colour, but I liked this sort of diamond shape. That's why I wanted it, actually. And it's all been kind of inlaid. And she said to me, it's over 100 years old. It's been in my family for 100 years. My parents brought it back from Ireland. And I said, oh, that's interesting because I have Irish ancestry, but my ancestry goes way, way, way back, probably over 100 years ago too. And she said, oh, that's lovely. I'm so happy that it's going to a home that's, you know, of someone with Irish blood in them. And she was just so sweet. And I bought it very cheaply. She even came down in price. And she even looked at me really sincerely and heartfelt. She said, you know you're getting this very cheap. And I said, yes, I do. And I will cherish it, I promise. And so she said to me, please never sell it. Which was a strange thing to say, actually, to a stranger you just met who's buying something that obviously she was feeling very, maybe a bit torn about selling it. But anyway, I thought it was so precious to her and so much loved. I thought I'm going to put work into it and make it beautiful. So this was during when the COVID years. I think I bought this in 2021. So I sanded back all the ugly old, you know, worn out varnish, and it was cute because in the sunshine it sparkles. You can't quite see it inside, but when I was working on it out in the garden, the timber was literally sparkling like diamonds. I actually thought at first, am I high? I mean, I very rarely, you know, take substances, very, very rarely, but I felt like I was high. And I was seeing all these sparkles in the timber. And so anyway, I decided, I was also at that time cutting, I'll show you, I'm wearing the earrings, cutting power shells. So I decided that I would inlay them, which I had only just tried a little bit before. I'm still not very good at inlay. So I inlaid them into the timber and with little love hearts. And yes, I stuffed up when I tried pyrography and put my little business name of Titania's Realm. It's off centre, but then I thought about it. I thought, doesn't matter, it's quirky, isn't it? It's a bit quirky. And then I had bought from an antique shop. I bought it on Marketplace, I think, but it's an antique. A letter T for Tanya, or for Titania's Realm, which was a little sterling silver letter. And then I made these little hasps for it. That's out of silver plate, off a silver plate fork. But the little, you know, the jump ring and the chain is sterling silver. But I bought these, I think they came from China, these little butterfly hasps. I have to be careful because it doesn't quite sit down properly, and I don't know how long it will last. The intention was I was going to take it with me to the markets and open it up as a display piece. I'll show you. So I had, you know, put copper rails on it, and I was hung all the earrings from that. And here's what's left of all my jewellery that didn't sell. But look, I'm not upset about it. I was very upset initially. Now I'm just like, the world's gone crazy, the economy's fucked, and you know, I haven't been lucky with making money on my own terms, which is weird and completely weird. Even when I went to the markets, I barely made the rent. You know, I had to pay the rent out of pocket and lose money. So that's why I stopped doing the markets. I thought I went 3 times, and each time was kind of weird and spiritually negative and almost fucking demonic behaviours from people, which was very triggering for me too. And hot, and very, very hot, and then failing to make enough sales to cover costs. I thought, fuck it, that's going in the fuck it bucket. Not going to bother with that anymore. Anyway, that was the second canteen I renovated, and had the backstory to it. And can't quite see it. Can you see it from up here? That was from my mother's Italian table that my daughter took to a show, and it broke. So I cut it up, and I made this little sign for it, Titania's Realm. And I bought this from a lady on Instagram, forgotten her name, because it looked like a fairy. And I loved it. And you see here I've bought these little butterfly hasps as well. And anyway, that was a piece of driftwood I found, and I zhuzhed up for shop displays. That was a little cabinet I bought in Marketplace, again meant for a shop display. So I've been manifesting success and a proper shop for a long time, but being a disability pensioner and not having enough money, it's gone nowhere. So I grieve about it, this epic failure, but to make money you've got to have money, and to rent a shop you've got to be able to pay the overheads, the rent, the electricity, and you've got to have people coming and buying. So it's a gamble I'm not prepared to take, unfortunately. I've thought about it from time to time and thought no. But anyway, the universe, the multiverses, the Holy One and all manifestations has this week has got me renovating things that have laid around the house for a very long time. Like those old drawers, I think, came from my mother or from a piece of furniture that I chucked out, but I kept the drawers because they had good bones and I thought they'd be good for storage. So yeah, I'm using things and upcycling things that have laid around for a very, very long time. I'll just show you. We're going to go into my bedroom. Don't look at my bedroom because I've very naughty. I've left a wet towel on my bed, so I'm a bit feral at times. So it is what it is. I really wasn't well this morning. So up here I have my decoupaged cases that I put a lot of work in again over the COVID years, the worst of the COVID years. It's how I avoided mentally dealing with that. But that one in the corner, that one needs a handle too. So I've got to look at it again. There was something about it that I hesitated, that I didn't think I could do it. But now that I've done this case, I'll have to just overcome my fear and bloody well give it a handle. They've got straps on them because they don't stay closed because the clasps are so old and, it's a bit shit. But apart from that, I'm very proud of those cases. They're sort of semi-erotic, which is why I'm not pulling all the teddies off and showing you, because YouTube will freak the hell out. And I mean, they're not rude, but we don't need the drama, do we? We don't need the drama. People who can't understand art. One of my writings from a few days ago got ripped down by Instagram because I mentioned knickers and the sneeze. I thought, censorship. There's nothing all that particularly rude about mentioning the word knickers. I guess it's just a little bit too real. I've got enough leather for a small handle on something, but I need a lot more length to do another one for the other case, I think so. But it was perfect for a handle because it's a wonderful thick piece of leather. So, I've been on a journey this morning. Just cutting that out was arduous. And I don't know what's wrong with me. I should be in bed given that I stopped breathing so much last night. I should be utterly exhausted. But I'm fighting forwards as I do every day, even when I'm unwell. Fighting every day of my life to create and make the best of my situation and live my best life, am I right? Like every other living sentient being on this planet. I'm definitely going to put the boys out. They're looking at me like, come on, Mama. We're bored in here. We want to go out and see the other birdies. Want to go in the garden, my boys? Kermie want to go in the garden. And little Bo want to go in the garden. I call him Little Bo. He says, it's very condescending. I'm 45, Mummy. Well, all right, but to me you'll always be Little Bo because I had Bobo, who was my dog. So it's kind of separating your identities out a bit more that way too. There's a method in my madness. Look at him chewing on that piece of wood. I'm glad I gave him that branch. He actually chews on it, which is what it's for. Gives him something to do. All right, beautiful people of planet Earth and all other sentient beings and interdimensional entities of love, light, truth, righteousness, honour, nobility, courage, faith, beauty, creativity. I'll be back later with the Silmarillion. I just felt inspired to tell you all about my suitcase, which was really, it's a silly thing, but it's made me happy today that I was able to give it a new lease on life by giving it a handle. Okay, bye for now, people of Earth.